All right, welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Doing kind of this a little bit on the fly, but for the fact that we have another Louisiana sports content that's coming out today, you have Ross Jackson of the Saints got a unofficial depth chart for the upcoming game against the Los Angeles Chargers for the first game of the preseason. This is after the last practice before they travel to Los Angeles for that game this coming Sunday. I'm kind of just going off of my initial insight of everything I see for this. Is there anything in general that kind of sticks out? But just kind of seeing what the first initial depth chart is and seeing if there's anything we can take from it. But looking at everything offensively, you figured for the team offensively, though, a lot of what we're going to be looking for is how the quarterback situation is going to go and the idea of who's going to get kind of first reps during preseason, because you figure all three guys are going to see playing time. But they do kind of say Rattler, Shuck, and Hainer all as first team. It's him or him or him. But for the fact that they're showing a second year starter and then the rookie and then a third year guy, that's kind of how people kind of expected. The general accomplice of Saints fans figured it was going to be at the very beginning. Rattler was going to get the first shot of being the first team quarterback. Then you'd get Shuck to get a lot of the second team efforts, and then Jake Hainer might get a quarter. So we'll see how that goes in the first game, but this does not determine who's actually going to be playing in all of the in this first preseason game. But at this point, it's kind of what you would think the team would be if you have a bit of a 53-man roster to keep in mind based off of what the Saints could look like at the beginning of the regular season. So for also the fact that I've gone through and I was at a day of training camp 2 Fridays ago, a lot of this really does make sense for what you would expect from him. Yeah, quarterbacks, Rattler did definitely look like the more crisp one, being able to work through his progressions quicker, a little bit more decisive, but this is his second training camp, so you'd expect he's going to be the more effective one to begin with. Jake Hainer as well. They've been splitting first team reps where Rattler, today was the first day that they actually had Rattler get first team reps in back-to-back games, so it seems likely that Rattler is going to get the first shot of being the first team quarterback. Now, Kellen Moore has kind of said that Kamara is not going to end up playing in this first game of the preseason. I don't expect he's going to play very much in the preseason outside of maybe a possession or two in the second game. Now, the wide receivers, you're going off of the most experienced ones that you have in the system. Olave, Shaheed, Cooks, that's kind of to be expected. Juwan Johnson, he's the only really returning starter at the tight end position that has any experience, considering that you have, if you keep going over here, you have both Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau still on the PUP list, so they're not going to be able to play just yet. They're back at practice, but they're not going to be a part of this early preseason, if they're even a part of the preseason at all. So you see on the offensive line from left to right, a lot of people, once the draft pick of Kelvin Banks came in, they're kind of wondering, they had Fuaga, Taliesin Fuaga, who was a first round pick last year, who was left tackle all of last year. So is he going to go stay at left tackle and then Banks maybe going to guard where he might be more suited? And then what's going to happen with Trevor Penning? This first team offense, after a first little bit of shuffling, it's like Kelvin Banks, left tackle. That's what they expect him to be for the entire rookie season for him. Penning, after being poor at left tackle and after being serviceable as a right tackle. Fuaga moves back to his college position at right tackle, and then they're trying to get Penning, who has a more reasonable size and has trouble handling quick twitch pass rushers, is going to be more adept to be able to move inside and be more effective as someone to help with the run and hopefully not have to move laterally as much. And then everything else is as standard. McCoy and Ruiz, same thing as last year. So trying to go off of a little bit of the depth chart on it, you'd think offensive line, you're probably going to have a good 2 deep for it. So decent chance you'll have Landon Young. Dylan Raditz and Will Clapp were 2 signees as free agents. They had Raditz to be able to fight with Penning for that left guard spot. They brought in Shane Lemieux once you had Nick Saldivari go down and be out for the season, so they needed someone to be a backup right guard and another potential center prospect with Will Clapp. You're probably going to have close to 10 offensive linemen, so this is what you're expecting with the early 2 deep, but you're still going to have a chance for some of these rookies if they showed development during the preseason, especially for the fact they brought in Jonathan Mendoza late, who was a college teammate for Tyler Shuck, and with Easton Kelly probably going to fight for that backup guard, one of the backup guard positions. A lot of things for wide receiver, most of the time you're going to get wide receivers where they're going to keep either 5 or 6. So the 3 standards are going to be Olave, Cooks, and Shaheed. Those are the ones that are kind of set in stone. And then there's going to be 2 or 3 spots set from players who haven't really proven themselves or veterans that are trying to still keep themselves in the league, with the veterans being Cedric Wilson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Dante Pettis. And then your young receivers, the ones that you put either draft capital or has been in the system the last couple years, that being Bub Means, Mason Tipton, Kevin Austin, as well as your rookie that's looked solid between Moochie Dixon, Chris Tyree. At this point, they're in the back end of the depth chart, but it's early on to be able to determine how these rookies can play in game time. Same thing on the running backs. Kamara's not going to play in most of the preseason. This is going to be more of the development of what's going to be behind him. Kendre Miller, who has been injured the last couple seasons, had gotten a bad rep under Dennis Allen because of his injuries and for the fact it happened so quickly during last year's offseason. Reports show that he's looked good so far in the preseason, and he's going to have the first shot to be able to be that backup running back to Kamara. Unfortunately, you've had where Devin Neal just got hit with an injury, the rookie draft pick out of Kansas. So until he gets back healthy, he's going to be sidelined for a few weeks, may be able to get back for maybe the last preseason game. But his spot on the team, as long as he's healthy enough to do so, is secure for the top 53, for that starting 53. Then you'll have probably maybe one more spot that's going to be kind of thought between Cam Akers, Clyde. Local fans are going to be hoping Clyde can be able to keep his career going. Velus Jones, a free agent, wide receiver, running back from Chicago that they got as free agent. And rookie Marcus Yarns, who they may try to get him on the practice squad. But for a team that is definitely in more of a rebuilding time at this point, more of the emphasis for this team is trying to build the young portion of the roster and to develop what this team could be in years future, because this likely is not going to be that strong of a finish. Probably not going to really compete in the NFC South, even though it is still likely the worst division or close to the worst division in the league. Now, Defensively, on the same end, just looking at the early portion on it, seeing Granderson, Chase Young, the two ends that have been given relatively recent contracts post in the free agency. And then Cam Jordan, probably within his last year or two, probably going to get like 25, 26 on this defense that's going to be on that final 53-man roster. Now, there has been a lot of defensive line signees as veteran free agents. There was the trade for Devon Godshaw from the Patriots for a late round pick. So you would think that if it's a trade that they got post Kellen Moore getting a job, then they really like what Godshaw is able to do. And even to Godshaw's credit, he has told media members and all the interviews he is a primarily strong run defender in the middle. Kind of the opposite of Brian Brzee, who is a very strong pass rusher at D-line in the D-tackle position, but struggles against the run. There's the depth pieces from a lot of these who have had starting experience for this team or others, between Kalen Saunders, Nathan Shepard, the most recently signed Jonathan Bullard from the Vikings, young draft picks in Christian Boyd, undrafted free agents previous years, John Ridgeway, Jonah Williams. And then you still have to go with your rookies, Amari Thomas, and third-round pick Vernon Broughton out of Texas. Linebacker situation, trying to build depth behind Werner and Davis. Davis is 36 at this point. He has been an established veteran and has been likely going into the team's Hall of Fame once his career is over. And then Pete Werner just got a new contract, so you'd think Werner's going to be here for a significant future. Trying to build up the depth behind him, probably a total of like 5 guys amongst the rest of this. You're expecting Danny Stutzman, their draft pick this year, is likely going to be in that mix. And the fact that he has actually flashed during training camp, he's likely going to be the favorite to be the heir apparent to Demario Davis. Now, in the secondary, you're not returning any of your established starters from the year before, considering that you traded Lattimore to the Commanders and you did not re-sign who's the other one? Your other starting corner didn't re-sign, and he went to the Giants, got a sizable contract. So you're kind of hoping Alontae Taylor can help develop, even though as a coverage grade, he was not very good last year, one of the worst in the league. You do think that Kool-Aid McKinstry is probably going to be the favorite to becoming that top corner in that secondary. Now, both your starting safeties with Matthew retiring, you have 2 new safeties, Justin Reed, local product out of Dutchtown, and Julian Blackman you just signed to replace Matthew. Both have looked good in the early training camps, but they're established veterans, and that's likely going to be your starters going into the season. Backups off of it, JT Gray's still a little banged up, but he's your special teams ace. And then you have your young safety prospects, Jordan Howden in his 3rd season, and Jonas Sanker, your draft pick this year, likely going to be at least your five safeties going to be on the roster. A lot of the cornerbacks, this is returning players that from previous stops, Isaac Yadam, Ugo Amadi, Rico Payton, they've had experience in the system, but with a new scheme with Brandon Staley as defensive coordinator, you'll have to see how well they're able to develop on this and hopefully get some progress from rookie Quincy Riley to hopefully become more established on this team. Now, special teams, it's a lot of the same players as last year. Blake Grupe, Matthew Hayball, James Burnup's a rookie out of Alabama. It seemed kind of strange that they signed a couple punters late, Kai Kroger being one of them, and they were working out a punter from I think it was Tampa Bay as well. So within the division, so you could have 4 punters on the roster. I haven't heard too much of saying that Hayball's there to lose, like his position is there to lose, but if something comes up on it, we'll have to see if anything happens. But outside of that, this is a team that is a work in progress. So it's going to be a combination of an experienced roster amongst the NFL and amongst players that have experience through the Saints organization within itself, but also trying to build towards a future. So once we get closer to that first preseason game against the Chargers this Sunday, I'll give a little bit of a reaction on it, and we'll see what it goes from there. If there's anybody standing out, any big names that seem to be losing their spot on the team, if they get cut early, we still got a full 90-man roster that we have to go through on this, and we'll have to figure out where everything's going to lay out. But with that all being said, thank y'all for watching for this. More Saints content will be coming, as I said, for each preseason game, and likely for all the regular season games as well. But expect a couple college football content videos shortly. More with Lafayette, Tulane, and LSU, and the Just. If there's anything else that comes up, some video will be put out on it. But thank y'all for watching. If y'all like it, please like, subscribe. Let other people know on... I know it's just another person giving Louisiana content, but hopefully once things kind of get moved about, once I can kind of figure a few things out, I'll be able to put a little bit of a twist that is my own unique blend of content plus humor and such and the like. But next video should be coming within the next couple days at the very least. And with that, I will see y'all next time. I'm out.